Incremental greetings. Let's continue the Supermemo course, the Pleasurable expansion. Now it's time for priorities. How we can set priorities. There are many ways. So now let's tackle the first one, the most common used, that is through the dialog, Alt-P dialog.
Into writing. Alt-A, Alt-P. 69.
Alt-P. P stands for priorities. And this is the element priority dialog. And if you see, there's not just priority, there's more information. Remember, the element parameters had Shift-Control-P, had more stuff. This is like a selection. It's not just priority. You have forgetting index. We covered this already. The factor, we covered that already. And the ordinal that we covered, and you can forget about it. You're not going to use it. But this is more easy to understand because you have the position of the priority. The absolute number of the priority is the 41st element in this collection, and in percentage is almost 70% because this collection is very small. In my collection, this very same number could be 0.0 something. Actually, let me check that out. Look at this. It's this one. So for me, the same element, the same position for the 51st represents 0.0529% of the collection because it's much bigger. Then on top of that, you have the element that comes before and after. I don't use this at all, basically. It could be useful in case the collection is very small. That, if I have to choose between this strategy in business and the rules of conducting interviews, what's more important? Oh, it's more important the other one. Okay, cool. That is the opposite. Let me change that. It's like some kind of reference to assess the priorities. So you will have, in this case, the number 30 and 31. Sorry. In this case, you will have the position number 30 and 32. One before, one after. If now I change that, the position will be the 50, it updates. The 50, it's meta-learning, and a study suggests something about mouth breathing during exercise. It's unrelated. Doesn't have to be about the same concept, because in Supermemo, you can have whatever you want. And it will be really likely that you have a lot of different topics. That's one, you can use the list. Then, you don't have to use the position necessarily. I can express that in percentage. You know what? That will be 1.5. That in my collection equals to this position, 851. On top of that, I can make this more visual. I just move the slider. Do you see that everything updates? The position, the percentage, before and after also changes. Complex memories, artificial and what popularized the fifth discipline. Okay, it's a good place for that. Oh, happens to be in this place. Cool, let me save. Select OK. Let me go back. Something that is very important. You may think, oh yeah, this is color-coded, right? From the highest priority to the left are hot colors to the lowest priority with cold colors. Yes, it's true. But look at the scale. Now let me put 50%, which is the 50% is the middle, halfway. But look at the slider. It's not halfway. Why is this? Because this chart is not linear. It's exponential. So the higher the priority, the more precise you can be. Look at that. All of those positions is still 1.2%. Here is 2% still. And now if I go to the blue color, this is 88. I only move 1, 86, 84. So only one step is already 2% of priority jump. And if I go here, from 0.01, 04. So I only jumped 3 decimals. So my jump is in the second decimal. It is a very small jump. This is by design, because the higher the priority, you want to be more precise. Because if it's something very low, it doesn't matter if it's 57, 64, or 65, or 77, because it's so long, it's so high, it's so low, it's so far away from my priority protection that I won't see this ever. Unless I do a subset review, I do a search or something. If I just do my daily sessions, I won't see this in my life. That's why I don't want to spend time on precision, because it's not even that important to be precise at that degree. But if it's something very high, I want to be precise here and there, because this will affect what I will see on my daily sessions. That's why you want precision. And then as a final touch, remember, in the element priority dialog, you have 4 decimals. In the parameters, you only have 2 decimals in the element parameters window. I don't know why. In this case, it's 50. It's not the best example. 1 second. It's 1, 2, 3, and 5. I cannot make it 4. It rounds up to 5 in my collection, because it depends on the position. It's a precise percentage, but in the element parameter window, it is rounded up, or just cropped. It just says 0.12, and that's it. I only have 2 decimals. Why 2 decimals in the priority, but 3 on the A factor in this window? In the A factor, I don't need this precision, but I do for priorities. It should be the other way around. It's Supermemo. Then, on the Alt P, you have 4 decimals. And the A factor stays at 3. So it's only the priority that, for whatever reason, changes the precision. I don't know why. And that's not it. In the element window, in the learn panel, you have this as well, the priority in the position, 71, and in percentage. But here you only have 1 decimal. That you really want, at the beginning is not a big deal, because you will have 100, a few hundred, you won't have that many decimals to begin with. But later don't take a look here. That will be like a quick look. Yeah, more or less this range. But you're not getting precision here. If you really want precision, look at this. You will see all of the decimals. I don't, but Wozniak, you will see some videos of Piotr Wozniak, that he sets priorities on the 3rd decimal. Super precise. Because his collection is about 1 million elements. So he really needs to move to those decimal points. Because if he only uses this moves already 100 positions up and down, and this will move, 1,000, and this will move like 10,000 elements up and down. It's a crazy jump. Now, let's see if Fowl has something to add here.
Fine. It obviously gives you some decimals here, usually, or you can even go a little bit higher or lower based on your collection. Because your priority is spread based on your collection, you cannot have all your elements with the same priority.
Exactly, because one element comes after the other. It's like if you're in a queue in a supermarket, let's say, or you're waiting in line. One person is ahead of another person or is behind another person until the last one. They are not people in the same place. You can think that as your inbox, or if you use WhatsApp or one thing, if you are a Gen Z, that there are not messages that are in the same level. One is the most recent, the second most recent, and so on. Same for priorities. Each element has a unique property. Every element has a unique place on the position of the queue, And that's important. So if it's very high, what's going to happen? I could see the next element in the priority queue as 0.1. Because I don't have enough precision, it looks like it's the same. But the difference are in the other decimal points. That's one thing. And then, what's priority is this? 71. Okay. Now, if I make this the first, then what happened is that I shifted all of the other ones. Because some other element was the first one already. They cannot be 2 on the first position. So Supermemo has shifted every single element required. The higher the priority, the more elements we will shift, and that's the outlier, the worst case scenario. Now, the worst case scenario will be, if that's the 100, is the 100 in percentage. You see it's 56 position in the queue. If I make it the first one, and it's not 1, by the way, it's 0, now the entire collection, all of the elements on their priority will shift 1 number, because that's the first one. Now if I go to my priority queue, that's the first one. Do you see the question is the third, and it's 0.004? Okay, let me click this one, but very random. And I will make this the position number 2. Then perhaps I will need to refresh. Remember, during an advanced and question. Okay. Then let me open it again. Doing advanced, do you see now it's the second one? Don't worry about the interval. We are looking at the priority. And question now is the fourth. So that's extremely important. First, no element can have the same position. Okay. And if I modify one priority, it's very likely I modify priorities of other elements as a consequence. Because if someone moves up, indirectly the distance from where I'm coming to where I'm going, they will shift 1 position. And this because it's element by element. By the way, you can also do this in bulk. If I wanted, I could change the priorities. We will see this later. I could do 1,000, and I could move 1,000 in one single go, not just one single position. One analogy is with kart racing. Imagine Formula 1 or MotoGP. Let's say I'm Marc Marquez because he's Catalan and Spanish. I'm in the position number, 12. I overtake some people here and there, and I become third. That means that whoever was the third position now is the fourth now is the fifth, until the position number 12. The positions number 13 to the end, let's say 20, isn't changed, because this modifies. Let's say I'm in this position, number 12, and I overtake this. This is what I'm affecting, the ones that are selected. So the other ones are unaffected. So all of those will shift 1 position lower. The third will become the fourth the fifth, and the 12th will become the 13th. That's why priorities are dynamic, and even if you just, I manually set priorities on this, why it's now different? It's because you are affected this priority in a different place. By changing one priority, by changing one element that was in a lower priority to a higher priority, so it was in the middle. Let's say it's those 3 in yellow. So if I change something that is higher priority to lower priority, those numbers will be increasing. That priority will increase by by 3 if I do those 3 at the same time. 3 positions in the queue. If I do the opposite, something that is lower priority, and I move them to a higher priority, they will decrease 3 slots in the priority queue, even though I didn't touch those 3. That's extremely important. Priorities are dynamic. Even if just for the user that I set static priorities, it will affect dynamically, and on top of that, priorities already are dynamic. Whatever I do a repetition and so on, that we will see, this also affects the priority by decreasing or increasing. It's a big deal. And remember, priorities is prioritization, mastering priorities is the most important thing in incremental reading. The most highly valuable skill in incremental reading are priorities. That's why it's a big deal, and I'm covering many videos about it. It's the most important thing. See you in the next video.